Hello students, welcome once again. Today in this video, we will learn next two factors promoting the growth of nationalism. In the previous video, we learned the definition of nationalism and how economic exploitation of Indians helped in the growth of nationalism. Second factor, repressive colonial policies. The word repressive means harsh, cruel. The nature of the British colonial rule over India helped the growth of national sentiment among the Indians. The British had conquered India to promote their own interests and therefore followed such repressive policies so as to make India subservient to the needs of Britain. In the first factor, economic exploitation, we read that the general aim of the British policies in India was to promote their own interest at the cost of welfare of Indians. Now the same line is coming again. So this shows that their main purpose, their main aim was to get all the benefits. These policies became the major barrier to India's economic, social, cultural, intellectual and political development. So these repressive policies, they acted as an obstacle. Barrier means obstacle. So they acted as an obstacle in the path of India's economic development, social development, cultural, political development. Some of these repressive policies, especially those followed by Lord Lytton, Viceroy of India from 1876 to 1880, acted as a catalyst for the growth of nationalist movement in India. So, when Lord Lytton became the Viceroy of India, he followed such repressive policies which acted as a catalyst. Catalyst means these policies gave boost for the growth of Indian nationalist movement. These included the following. Number 1, Lord Lytton organized a grand Delhi Darbar in 1877 to proclaim Queen Victoria as the Empress of India. So 1 year after becoming Viceroy, that is in 1877, Lord Lytton organized a grand Delhi Darbar just to proclaim, just to announce Queen Victoria as the Empress of India. Lakhs of rupees were spent on the event, but nothing was done for Indians who were in the grip of a famine. Second, Lord Lytton introduced the Vernacular Press Act 1878 and Indian Arms Act 1878. So these two acts were introduced by Lord Lytton. The Vernacular Press Act forbade vernacular papers to publish any material that might excite feelings of dissatisfaction against the British government. Vernacular paper means papers in local languages like Marathi, Bengali, Tamil, Hindi, etc. So, this act forbade. Forbade means to stop. Forbade vernacular papers to publish any material that might excite. Excite means arouse feelings of dissatisfaction against the British government. This act was not applicable to English newspapers. In 1882, this act was repealed by Lord Ripon. And Lord Ripon repealed means cancelled this act in 1882. The Indian Arms Act of 1878 made it a criminal offence for Indians to carry arms without license. So, according to this act, it was important, it was must for the Indians to carry their license if they are carrying their arms with them. This act was not applicable to the British. Third, the maximum age limit for the Indian Civil Service examination was reduced from 21 to 19 years. thus making it difficult for the Indians to compete for it. Now students, today if we see 19 years old means second year student. Now how can a second year student easily appear for the Indian Civil Service examination? It is very difficult for that student. So this was again another weapon which Britishers used to harm the Indians. Fourth, the import duties on British textiles were removed. It proved harmful for the Indian industry. Fifth, Sir C.P. Ilbert, the law member of the Viceroy's Council, introduced a bill popularly known as the Ilbert Bill in 1883. The bill, which was introduced by Viceroy Lord Ripon, sought to abolish judicial disqualification based on race distinctions. Now, this Ilbert Bill was introduced by Viceroy Lord Ripon, and this bill sought to abolish. Sought means to try. So this bill tried to abolish judicial disqualification based on race distinctions. This was resented by the British and they started a defense association to defend their special privileges. And this was not liked by the Britishers. So they started a defense association to defend, to protect their special privileges. This reaction provoked counter-agitation by educated Indians. And how Indians reacted? This reaction provoked, aroused counter-agitation by educated Indians. The government ultimately withdrew the bill and enacted a more moderate measure which vested the power of trying Europeans to a session judge and a district magistrate who might be an Indian. So, the British government ultimately withdrew the bill and some changes were made in the bill. This bill made it clear to the Indians that justice and fair play could not be expected where the interests of the European community were involved. These repressive policies of the British provided a stimulus to political agitation and quickened the pace of Indian nationalism. So all these repressive policies quickened the pace. Pace means speed. Speed of Indian nationalism. Now the third factor, socio-religious reform movement. The socio-religious reform movements of the 19th century were great pioneers of Indian nationalism. The impact of Western education, which led to a rational means based on logic, humanitarian means concerned with human welfare, and scientific approach to life, made the educated Indians realize the need to reform their religion and society. Reform means to bring some changes. They felt that the path to progress lay in the acceptance of the best of the East and the West. The result was the birth of socio-religious reform movements touching almost every segment of Indian society. Touching almost every segment means affecting almost every segment of Indian society. In the social sphere, these movements worked for the abolition of caste system, child marriage, dowry system, parda system, sati and infanticide. Sati means practice in India where a widow threw herself onto her husband's funeral pyre. Infanticide means killing of infants. They launched a crusade against social and legal inequalities. In the religious sphere, these reform movements combated religious superstitions, attacked idolatry, polytheism, and hereditary priesthood. Now, combat means to fight. So, in the religious sphere, these reform movements fought against religious superstitions. They attacked idolatry. Idolatry means worship of idols. Then polytheism. Polytheism means belief in or worship of more than one god, and hereditary priesthood. These movements fought for individual liberty and social equality. Liberty means freedom. Now this next para is very important, so underline. Prominent reform movements were Brahmo Samaj, founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy; Arya Samaj, founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati; Ram Krishna Mission, founded by Swami Vivekanand; and Satya Shodhak Samaj, founded by Jyotiba Phule. So all these four Samajas are very important. So I wind up for today. In the next video, we will learn from Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and be blessed.